Hi, I'm Andrea Kanaris, founder of All Things Social Impact and host of Voices of Change Stories That Matter. I've been following the reporting on One Nation and noting its increasing support. It made me reflect on Pauline Hanson's early days in the political arena. For those who don't remember, were too young or not in Australia at the time, let me remind you. John Howard was Prime Minister, and there had been an influx of illegal migration via boats from Indonesia. There was the man overboard incident, claims that asylum seekers had thrown children overboard in pursuit of passage to Australia and a better life. These were false claims. This was a time where boats were being turned around and led to asylum seekers being held on Manus Island for processing. The national debate around how much immigration and how many refugees, including where, was the hot topic on every radio station, television, and newspaper report. Now, fast forward to 2025, and immigration is again topical. Coincidence? I think not. But what is it about immigration that incites an Australia First reaction? Many are quick to jump to racism, to explain the support for people like Pauline Hanson. Now, I have no doubt that racism exists. In fact, I've both seen and experienced it. And for those who are racist, this is fuel to them. But is it reasonable to tar everyone who wants to have our politicians put Australia first or raise concerns about immigration with the racist brush? When I step back and I compare the social conditions and environments of the times, there are similarities, and most notably economic anxiety and competition for jobs. Now, in 2001, unemployment was rising 7 to 10%, driven by declining manufacturing. In 2025, we see economic anxiety driven by rising cost of living, housing unaffordability, underemployment, low wages. At both times are characterized with fractured social cohesion, a lack of belonging and a fear of the other, which breeds anti-immigration sentiments, a desire to close the door, to resist cultural change and hark back to familiar times. In 2025, it feels and sounds more intense, with the hangover from COVID still lingering and social media constantly screaming every slight fear, concern, angst that anyone has at any moment, channeled to our devices 24/7. Social media amplifies the rhetoric, broadens the divide, and ramps up the tensions. And these parallels point to underlying social conditions that feed to a sense that the way of life is threatened, that there is not enough to go around. And for those who are more susceptible to the whims of economic conditions, it is not surprising the reaction be to close the door to immigration, to protect the existing jobs and housing for those that are already here, for themselves, their children, their aging parents and grandparents. It's a natural human reaction. The fight, flight, freeze kicks in. Those with excess resources would not feel the threat in the same way. I draw attention to this because we need to dial down the rhetoric. The desire to label people racist because they call for a reduction in immigration, we need to stop name calling and start asking more questions, to seek to understand, to humanize the other. While we stay divided, pointing, calling names, the politicians and decision makers get to avoid addressing the underlying causes to the very problems that gave rise to the fear in the first place. Instead of fighting each other, we need to unite in demanding better from our politicians on both sides of the aisle. We need to hold them to account in the delivery of policies that provide and promote an economy that allows people to prosper and for all its citizens to thrive. Please leave your comments below. Remember, hit the like button, share, and subscribe.